Hi folks. Today I wanted to talk about my publishing story because I found it to be quite an interesting process. So I wanted to just go through what I went through. It would be different for everyone perhaps, but I just wanted to share my story. Okay, when I wrote the book, I had a professional editor and I had a professionally proofread. It took me approximately 2 years to write the book, to get it to where it was a good story that was publishable. Once it was publishable and all the things were correct, then I started working on sending it out to agents. And you get this, you either go on a website or there was websites, and there's this big thick book called the Writer's Marketplace, and they have all the agents and who takes what. So you have to know your genre of the book. I put mine as women's fiction, although I would also include fiction. And there's lots of agencies that are looking for that kind of book. But in Canada, there aren't that many publishers. And a lot of the publishers are looking for things that didn't have anything to do with my book, and that's just the way it is. They are concerned about other issues that they would like to address. A lot of the Canadian publishers are somewhat funded by different agencies in Canada, which is great for Canada. Now, I sent out my information to everybody and patiently waited. They said 6 to 8 months. Some in Canada said a year. They just get that many pitches. So I sent out my pitches, and then I started it in the United States. Well, I probably sent out over 100 because a lot of people take fiction and women's fiction. Then you would get the most lovely rejection letters. Like, just, it's all subjective. You're a great debut author, but it's just not what we're looking for. Now, this is despite everybody saying that they are looking for debut authors. But what I found out was that you have to have done something beforehand, and it had to have been fairly significant for them to take notice. There's just thousands of people pitching their books, and so they have to figure out what they're going to do about that when they're looking at the pitch. So so it was 2 years, and it was about a year of pitching, and then no one accepted the book. So I just decided that I would look for other things to do. The Canadian publication is small, and even if they did pick you up, you would be required to do the lion's share of the publishing, marketing, not the publishing, sorry, the marketing and the selling of the book, like showing up at the bookstores, pitching to radio stations, TVs, newspapers, that kind of thing. It would be your responsibility to go do that. Because the Canadian publishing market doesn't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money to back you. And then there's the big five that do, but not so much in the small Canadian sector. U.S. agents work on commission. As an untried author, why the heck would they want me, like a Canadian author, an untried author with really not a whole lot in her bio? So I had little chance of being picked up. The most honest look I had was when I watched a seminar by Sam Hyatt of the Rights Factory. He owns his own publishing company in Canada. And it was excellent. He talked for over 2 hours on what it's like being in the publishing industry. And his information really solidified my choices. First of all, COVID-19 has put the entire business back. He figured about 2 years to publish a book. So even if I got picked up now, it would be 2 years from now before I would get picked up, or you would see my book in a store. Now, even if I had an agent and they're working on publishing my book, Sam Hyatt said that it's possible for the agent to leave that agency. They do not take the book with them, and therefore it has to get picked up by somebody else. And quite often, as he said, it gets orphaned. Nobody picks it up, and it sits there doing nothing. When he was talking about this, and when I was thinking about all this, I did have a real odd feeling about going into stores and pitching my book and flogging my book. I don't know why. I guess I'm not the salesperson. So that was making me feel really uncomfortable. Overall, the goal was to complete the project. I really wanted to write this book. It was really important for me, but I wasn't looking to, make all the money and flog it on TV and that kind of thing. kind of came later when I thought, oh, am I supposed to like go sell this thing? So if I was left to market and promote the book myself, even if I did get picked up by an agency, I thought, well, maybe I should just do it myself. Like, what does it take? So I talked to a woman that published a book, and she said it's completely doable. She did it, and so she kind of walked me through a few things to look for. And I spent one afternoon just going through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, how do you publish a book on an ebook and a paperback? Well, it's pretty easy these days because you print on demand for a paperback book, so it's available worldwide. I guess in Australia it would be printed in Australia and you would just get it locally. And putting an ebook up, it's all set up for you, all the steps on how to do it, and although it's finicky, it can be done. So I asked my husband how much he loved me, and he said, what do you want? And I asked him to help me publish this book. He had done photo books before, so had some idea on how to do it. And together, we put this project together. It's kind of like, well, besides the fact that self-publishing is very doable, and then I'm still having to do the work anyway, so here I am. But it's like a proof of concept idea. It's like if you were a band, you know, like a band, a music band, and you go to Sony Music and say, I got this great band, I got some good songs, you should really sign me up. Well, obviously no, if you didn't have a following, a CD out, a lot of gigs under your belt, why would Sony Music look at you? So it's the same thing with publishing. So this is more of a dragon's denning it is what I would call it, just proof of concept, prove that you can do it, and if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. And here I am. It's been an interesting ride. Thanks for listening. Please comment if you want.